Okay, winners, it is our favorite day of the week, and you are now tuned in to episode 117 of the Ladies in Motion podcast, Talk It Out, where we shine light on women that's winning in the local community. I'm your host, Madam Walker, and y'all, I'm a little biased because I am so excited to shine light on today's winning lady, y'all. She's the one that's been blessing this crown since I've been in Georgia. Everybody asks me, so I'm just so excited to just put her before you all, shine light on her because she's doing big things. And we're going to get into it. We're not going to waste no time, okay? So today's winning lady is a Chris McDread certified master lock tactician, and she's the founder of Royal Kushite Hair Care. She was born and raised in the U.S. Virgin Islands on the beautiful island of St. Croix, which I've had the pleasure of visiting twice. And her story is deeply rooted in legacy, truly, resilience, and purpose. She became a mother at the age of just 15 years old, but that is what ignited her entrepreneurial journey, and I cannot wait to just get into that today. And with a God-given talent for hair and a natural eye for beauty, she began doing her hair, and people loved that so much, and they was just craving her touch. So fast forward to 2015, she made the move to Georgia. She leaped out on faith from the Virgin Islands, where she grew her clientele from mobile appointments to working in a barbershop, and then working in a salon suite, and then the pandemic happened, and then she eventually turned her home basement into a very professional studio, and now here we are 10 years later, y'all. I'm so excited. Exactly 10 years later, we are fortunate to be witnessing some of that success, some of it going down this weekend at the grand opening of her own salon, the Renewed Kanvas Beauty Bar, y'all. I need y'all to congratulate and welcome my girl, my friend, my loctician, Nia Jackson, to the show. Welcome. Thank you, Nia. I truly am so excited to just have you on the show. We've been knowing each other for a while. I've always told you I was doing a little bit of this back home. And so to just be here doing it consistently and seeing that, or, you know, you finally seeing it, I appreciate you seeing it valuable enough for you to just even come on the platform, because you truly are a woman that's winning. I'm not doing this because you're my friend. You know what I'm saying? I am inviting you on here to give you your flowers. That's what this show is about. Shining light on women that's winning in the community. So truly, you know, friend to friend, welcome and congratulations on everything. I'm so excited to talk about it. Thank you. So Nia is a little bit shy, y'all. You know, this is outside her comfort zone, which again is the reason why I really am grateful that you're doing this. You know, Nia is someone that invests in her business. And I know by you doing this, this is like, okay, you know, this is outside my comfort zone, but if this is going to elevate me and put me before eyes that have never seen me before, or, you know, grow my business or brand, I know this is what you're all about. So thank you again. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out? I'm the queen of shout outs, and I always give my guests an opportunity to shout out business partners, family members, or whatever before we get started.
Well, I want to shout out God, first of all. The Most High makes a way all the time. And then I want to shout out my grandmother, my mom, my family, and my mentors. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to keep going, honestly.
Thank you. So Nia, I can't wait to just dive into your story, and just get to know you a little bit more, but allow my audience to get to know you, because I think if number one, if you are doing my hair, I need that spirit to feel good. You know what I mean? This is my crown, so it's a blessing. I was nervous moving here from Florida, like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? But you are someone that nothing is too hard for her, y'all. I can show her a picture of anything, and she is going to make it her business to perfect that. So that's what I love about you. So we're going to dig into, you know, the beginning, because I want to know, were you always like that? Were you, you know, sometimes it's no surprise that people land in the lane that they're in, you know? So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, girl, let's get to it. So I mentioned in the beginning of this that my girl is born and raised in St. Croix, the U.S. Virgin Islands, very beautiful island. And I like to start these interviews like getting to know people and just asking them if, like, the lane that they're in now, is that the lane they always seen themselves in? And your story is a little bit different than some of my guests, because you became a mother at 15. So when me at 17, 18 about to graduate school, I'm thinking then, like, what is it that I'm going to be doing? But you said that you becoming a mom is what ignited your entrepreneurial journey. So I'm just curious to know about that. Like, what was it let me say before your son though. Before you had your son, what was it that you saw yourself doing? Did you think that you'd be using your own gifts at full time to make your money? Did you see yourself as a teacher? Like, what was it that you saw yourself doing as a young girl before you even stepped into motherhood?
Well, I would say I always saw myself working for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just, from even 5, 6 years old, I was selling plants and cookies and crafts at the market.
Mm-hmm.
I've always was getting my own money.
Mm-hmm.
I liked having the freedom of doing what I wanted with my own money,
Mm-hmm.
and not having someone tell me what to do. So I feel like it's just always been in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen my mom hustle all my life,
Mm-hmm.
and so my grandmother as well. And the people around me just always make a way. So it just felt natural,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. And I was gonna ask you that, like, is that something that you've seen? Obviously being a young child selling stuff, someone you had to be with someone, but maybe not, because I don't like it's different. You do be like on your grind, like young. Some of the stuff that I've heard. So you just being that young, you were seeing your mother and grandmother make a name for themselves, and I want to talk about that because your grandmother, I don't know her, but I wish I knew her. I know her through you though, because we speak about legacy, and this is truly a story of that. When you speak about your grandmother, I'm like, dang, she got to be so proud of her legacy that she's left behind. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you seen yourself working for yourself because you seen your mother and your grandmother. But I do want to talk about your grandmother just a little bit before we go into the motherhood, journey. You mentioned to me so many times that your grandmother was a creative and she also had her own salon.
Yeah.
So I want to just talk about that. Like, did you see that and think like, okay, maybe I should do hair, or you already knew how to do your hair just from watching her? Like, I just want to know what that relationship was like, being that you're there now, and that's exactly kind of what she was doing back in the day.
So she did have a salon in New York as well as a salon in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And a beauty supply in Puerto Rico as well. Um, and she was a judge in multiple hair shows and beauty shows. But
Okay.
it was really her hate for locks.
Oh God.
That pushed me towards beauty.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. She didn't like locks at all. And I had locks from a child. So she would brush it and she would act like I was in a salon.
Okay.
And so that's really what pushed me towards it. And she would always tell me about how she did in the salon and how her life was like, and I enjoyed hearing about it.
Okay.
So.
And then 15 years old comes and you find yourself stepping into motherhood. I want to know what that was like. Obviously it's a triumph story because look at you now. But I just would like to know what that was like when you first found out that you were going to be a mom. Maybe just sharing it with your family. Were you nervous now to even pursue some of the things that you seen yourself doing, or did you think you had to pivot, or did it just motivate you more? Obviously, because that's where you ignited your entrepreneurship journey. But I just want to hear about it from you more into detail. What that did for you.
So I definitely had to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
The journey that I had planned before I had him was not the journey that I'm on right now. It was supposed to go somewhat this way because I always wanted to own a spa and wellness center. So that's was the goal and still is the goal. Just working my way there. But having him definitely put some fire up under me and made me have to do it quicker. And that was difficult, but where I come from, a lot of Latin American women end up getting pregnant young. Okay. And there's a stereotype that they get pregnant young, they end up being illiterate, they end up living in low income housing, not making much of themselves. And I was not going to be that.
So you just refused, even though you were a young mom, you just still made it up in your mind, like, hey, I'm gonna raise above the odds and make a name, build a legacy, right?
Right.
I love that for you. And you told me one time about a program that you were involved in, and I was sharing before we were rolling that when you shared that with me, it just made me love you more, because for me, it just reassured, like, dang, this girl who I've got to know since 2021 she's been this person since she was a child or since she was a young person. So it just let me know that you're rooted in, you're a good person and you're rooted that way, So tell me about that program. Because I was gonna ask, like, even though you were young, what was like keeping you motivated? What was keeping you empowered during those times? Because even though you did it and you did a good job, I know it was just not easy, especially being like a teenager, just you're still figuring out yourself, and now you have the biggest responsibility in the world, So I would like to know, that who was around you when you did feel down or felt frustrated, who empowered you, who motivated you, did you have mentors, and tell me just in detail about that program because you've been a leader, girl.
So it's funny you say motivation because I did start losing motivation in the middle of trying to finish my high school diploma. So I had gotten pregnant at 15, but I didn't want to drop out of school. So I continued during using a homeschooling program. And I started losing motivation. I started not wanting to get up and do my schoolwork, not having my peers to socialize with, stuff like that. It makes a big difference when trying to educate yourself and doing it for yourself, you know? So I reached out to my mom and I told her, like, listen, I'm not feeling it anymore. I need to be in a classroom setting. I need some teachers. I need some assistants, And she reached out to the Women's Coalition, who do a lot of wonderful work in the Virgin Islands for women. Women who are battered. They offer psych consultations, mediations, resources for children. They work with the orphanages. They do a lot. And they had an education program, a furthering education program for adults. But they were using the same homeschool program that I was using. So my mom then enrolled me there. And I was the youngest person in the class.
Wow.
The oldest person was like 60 odd years old.
Really?
Trying to get their high school diploma. Yeah. So it was a mix of us. And through that program, they had us talking to different classrooms on the island about how important it is to have your education, to be educated. That even though like the big range of ages from my age, and I was at the time 16 years old to 63, still trying to work to get their high school diploma, not a GED, a high school diploma, So that's really what the and it was called Project LinkedIn.
Project LinkedIn. That's amazing to just know that there's resources there. And me being someone, like, I'm from a small town. And so even when I've been to the Virgin Islands a few times, it's like, dang, this kind of reminds me of home. But it's just breathtakingly beautiful, And so oftentimes I used to be like, dang, I wonder if I lived here, like grew up around this beauty, like, would I want to leave? I used to think that, like, dang, would I want to leave? So, I do want to talk about you in 2015, just even making that, after making the most out of your situation and your resources, getting your high school diploma, before we get into moving, how about that? Because now it just came in my mind. What were you doing, like, right before you moved? So you get your diploma, and then what? Like, what are you doing in between that time, right before you even moved to Georgia? I'm curious to know. I've never asked you that.
I jumped right into college.
Oh, University of Virgin Islands.
University of the Virgin Islands.
Okay, and what was that like? Tell me your experience.
I jumped right in because I wanted to kind of be ahead of my class.
Okay.
So initially, my class was supposed to graduate 2010. I graduated in 2009 with a baby. And I wanted my class to meet me at university a year ahead of them. To kind of stunt on them. Because I had I'm not going to lie, I had a lot of people that really cut me off because I had a child so young. And, misjudged me, So when I got to college and I went there, I enrolled for my bachelor's degree in business management. But I quickly learned that was not the avenue for me.
So you share something interesting too. You said that because the best way to learn business is by building your own, right?
Yeah,
I see that you said that.
my business management major, the professor, he told me that in class, in lecture. He said, if you're here to have your own business, this is not the major for you. He said, this is not the this is not an entrepreneurship major. This is business management. If you're trying to get into being a CEO or doing hospitality or running someone else's business, this is where you need to be. But if you're trying to have your own thing, get out there, read business magazines, educate yourself. The same information is out there and do it.
Wow.
And I was like, it took me 2 years
Mm-hmm.
for you to tell me this.
That's too funny. So you were in school a few years, and then what was it about Georgia? Like, I just want to know, what was it? Did you know someone in Georgia, or just what was it? Did something happen that made you say, you know what, I'm gonna take a big leap of faith, and I'm gonna go to Georgia to later on, which you continue to get your education, you still go get it, girl. Then go to cosmetology school. But I'm curious to know, right before 2015, what kind of made you come to Georgia? What was it?
Well, growth was needed.
Mm-hmm.
And to make yourself grow, you can't be comfortable all the time. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable spaces for you to grow. And unfortunately, where I'm from, it's so small. It's a very small town mindset, and some ignorance can be there sometimes if you don't broaden or broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
And I had three choices of where to go. It was Orlando, New York, or Georgia, and that was based on family friends that I had that I could couch surf on. Kind of stay with a week here, a week there, get a job, and figure it out. And Georgia was the better pick at the time, and still is the Black Mecca.
It's been great. Yeah, and obviously it has you doing so well, So those people that was talking back in the day, that didn't meet her at university, or you did, you meet her on the couch right now. You can meet her at her grand opening on Saturday. Okay, I love that for you. Just hearing that, again, I'm from a small town, so I it wasn't until like I just got a little bit older. My mom was a teen mom also, and she didn't let that stop her. She is the most amazing woman that I know. The original woman that's winning. That's what I like to say. But didn't let that stop her. And sometimes even just growing up, I am not a mother, but sometimes in the family, how you could, my shorts may be too short, and how they took that and ran with it and maybe talked about it. It's like, you know what? If they'll take that, I would hate to have been a young person to get pregnant, and I wonder what they would have said. So I remember one day being like, Mom, I don't know what you endure as a young person dealing with what people gotta say, you know what I mean? And just still being motivated though, and knowing who you are to press forward. So I just love that for you, because Nia, you got it going on. I tell her this all the time. To me, you got it going on. Okay. So you get out of school, you move to Georgia, you come here, and at first you were having mobile clients, and you eventually were in a salon suite, but you went to college as well. You enrolled in Georgia State University, and I'd just like to know, how that came about. What made you decide to, right now is the time I'm going to actually continue my education? Because a lot of people, I just want to hear your story. I'm curious to know.
I'm culturally, for my generation, we're big on respecting our elders. So my grandmother made it a big thing for us to get educated and to have our degree. And she kept saying, women my age, we couldn't get an education. We couldn't, and they tried to hold that over us. She said, so at any point, at any time you can get educated, do that. She went back for her bachelor's degree in her 60s.
That's amazing.
So she said, like, it was almost mandatory down there, It was like, all right, I messed up. I had a baby young. Let me get on it, get this degree, get this out of the way so you can't tell me anything. I did what you needed me to do.
So it was kind of like making your grandmother proud, but it's something that you've heard your whole life though. And I always hear people say, your education is something that no one can take from you. So I just always truly admire going to your house, seeing your Georgia State University graduation picture. You look so good. I just enjoy, that, because we met through a very special friend, and he would tell me, Nia came here like 2015, 2016. I'm like, dang, that's only been like 6 years at the time by the time I got here. But it's like, dang, okay, my girl done graduated. She doing hair, she doing her thing. So I just respect that, coming from a small town, but you coming from a small town in that little island, it's different. I don't think people get it unless they go, but because a person that's not from there, you're like, okay, this is an island, it's so foreign. But then to hear all you Crucians say that this is a small island. Like, this is a small island. It's like, no, it's not. So to hear you say that always tripped me out. But you are just a success story, Nia. You know, I love what you're doing. I just love your grind, girl. You know all about it. You know. So what was your journey like in college? You know, did you have moments of, okay, I need some time off, or I ain't going back. I already making my money, so I'm not doing it. Because you know, you're a mom. You doing hair in between that time. You know, you still a woman. You know what I mean? So just tell me about maybe some obstacles that you maybe experienced while you was in school, and you know, and what again just drive you to keep going. Obviously I know what did because you just answered, but yeah, tell me what that school journey was even like.
Well, in college, I decided to um, further my education in hair care.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I started getting jobs in salons so that I can learn about professionalism and how to move about in a salon. Mm-hmm. Which I really think is important, you know, and still is important. And it gave me a lot of key things that I still use in the salon today. And I was also a part of the University of the Virgin Islands dance team.
Okay, so you were involved. I know that's right, Nia.
Yeah, I've been dancing since I was like 4 years old. So I just continued. I tried to continue in my adulthood here, but life,
bro. We gotta catch a class one day though, like go to one of the little hill classes or something just for fun. It's a workout.
I made the company. I tried out. I made the company for a travel dance team here, and I just couldn't keep up with practice.
Yeah, it's hard though to balance life though, you know,
especially when you're keep trying to build and build on what you have, you know. But in college, I really enjoyed working with different stylists and learning from them, like old school stylists, and learning product knowledge and technique, a lot of technique, a lot of professionalism tools. And even though I did not graduate with a business management major, the psychology degree that I went for, that has helped me immensely.
Really?
With dealing with customers, dealing with people. I think anybody in customer service should have a degree at some point in psychology.
Really?
Or some kind of something in psychology, because it helps you. It helps yourself. It helps you deal with other people. It helps you deal with other people and their situations.
Right.
You know? So that journey working in other salons helped for the foundation of me to be able to have my own and know protocol.
So I love this, Nia, because I even see, you know, that your story, it is one, like, you're just an intentional person, you know. And what I'm hearing when you said that, it's like, even while I was in college for business though, I was surrounding myself by salons, and, you know, in salons by mentors, you know, just to make sure that you're on point. And I love that, just because as a young woman, you know, you was that way. And then after you graduated Georgia State University, it just, you know, I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised when you decided to go to cosmetology school, you know, because some people, it's like, okay, I don't have to do this. I can just get my business license. I've been already doing hair. I got clientele. You know, I'm already making money. So why do I have to do this? You know, I know hair, you know, and I've literally I know people that went to cosmetology school and told me they feel like it like wasted their time, you know. So I just want to hear it from you. I know you probably heard so many also before even going, like, oh, don't do that. Why you got to do that? You probably don't got to. So I just want to know, like, from the source, why did you also just take the step to, again, you know, continue your education and actually go to cosmetology school as well? I would love to know why. And tell us what school you went to and what that experience was like.
Yes, I decided to go to cosmetology school because I was still riding the wave of Georgia State. That high, that student high of learning, and I think I enjoy it. My clients make jokes and tell me I'm a professional student, but I think I enjoy it. So I was still riding that high, and I had the energy. I said, before I slow down, I have this momentum. Let me keep up this momentum and go back into school and get this out the way.
Yeah.
I thought it was important because my grandmother told me it was important. I'm not gonna lie. She told me it breaks down your hair to a science, and no matter what kind of hair you're doing, you need to know the insides and outsides of the hair structure if you're gonna be manipulating it.
Great, right.
Even if it's in locks, if it's loose, you still need to know the science makeup of it if you're gonna be manipulating it. And on top of that, I felt like it was a good networking opportunity for me to get myself out there, to learn, to meet other people who are going to be in the industry with me and have their license with me, get their license at the same time, learn, meet people in state board, meet people, just networking. I've met so many people since starting school. I went to Touched by an Angel beauty school. They also have an esthetician school and a nail school, and it's Black owned.
Period.
And I decided that purposefully because I could have went to Palm Mitchell,
right,
or ProWay or Avita, you know, but I purposefully wanted to learn from Black women how to deal with Black hair.
Yeah.
A lot of the problem with the curriculum for State Board is they don't cover Black hair. They cover only chemicals, like really mostly only chemicals and straighter hair. This curriculum, this past year, they just introduced locks and retwists and braids.
Okay, that's what's up.
But it's not required for you to pass State Board.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I came into school and I was teaching the people there about natural hair while I was learning.
While you were learning.
Yeah. So it was a good exchange of information. I learned a lot. They learned a lot. I wouldn't redo it. But
I was going to ask you, is there something that you could possibly share that maybe you went into hair school, maybe not knowing that you found out, or maybe that you had a different recollection of that when you got to school, it was like, oh, really? Or, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Or I've always thought this, but it's this, you know, is it anything that happened of that nature? Or if you can't think of one, that's fine. But I'm just curious to know. Because again, you're a professional student. So me knowing you too, I know you are doing your research and, stuff too. So I know that you be knowing your stuff. Like, girl, I would get into so much on here that you, like, she know history and all, y'all. She be knowing her stuff, So is there anything that you maybe encountered while you was in school? Like, man, I didn't know that. Or I've always done it this way, but actually I'm glad that I learned this. Anything that you can think of?
Well, I did. Another one of the basic reasons main reasons I went to school was for hair color. I love coloring my hair.
And you be killing it.
Love it. And I wanted to do it properly without damaging hair.
That's what's up.
But I also learned a cultural difference while going to cosmetology school, especially in South. How important and how much the salon is a part of the culture. It's not that really a big part of the culture in the Caribbean.
Well, really? What do you mean? Like, where you go? Like
the salon space. Like up here, young ladies would go to the salon every 2 weeks for a wrapping set.
Okay.
Like a perm wrapping set. Back home, your cousins are braiding your hair.
Okay.
Your mom is braiding your hair. You're not getting a wrapping set unless it's like a baptism, a special occasion, or you're an adult.
Okay.
When I was younger. Now young ladies are wearing wigs in school.
Right.
But when I was younger,
because baby, I was going to the salon to get my wrap set, every other week. And all the cheerleaders, put their hair up. Not me, I got a wrap. Coach, you about to make me put this first wrap up? No, I'm gonna chill with my hair down. Until because I gotta get this until the end, closer towards my little 2 weeks, then I'll start to put it up because I know I'm gonna get a wrap. So so I totally get that, and that's very interesting that you say that. But I guess it does make sense. So I have to ask now. So when you were doing hair in the Virgin Islands, like obviously you were booked because that's what you was doing, but do you feel like you had more business here because people are getting their hair done, like you said, like going to the salon every so often?
Yeah,
that's what's up. And were you concerned about that? Sorry to cut you off, and was that a concern of yours before? Like maybe
it is a cultural difference, So back home, locks isn't so much a cosmetic thing, and not first. Now it is. Now everybody's styling it, and it's it's a trend. It's trending.
Right.
But when I grew up, it wasn't that. You don't really get much styles. You just leave it do what it do. When I came up here, it made sense that people who did start locks would be in the salon often because they're accustomed to being in the salon often. Which is better for me as a business owner.
Period.
But it also is different because back home, getting clientele back home is based on your popularity.
Okay.
It's based on who you know,
Mhm.
based on what circles you run in.
Okay.
You know, whereas
Small town mindset stuff.
right. Whereas
Yeah.
here you can build a name for yourself. Nobody's really watching your name; they're watching what you do.
Mm-hmm. Let the work speak for itself. Love that. And Nia, your work speaks for itself. Okay, y'all, my girl, y'all gotta follow her. She made a man in some man's head. I can't get over that. And it was very detailed. He had two little bracelets on, like he had the accessories in the right spot from the little necklace he had. Did he have something in his mouth too?
He had little eyes.
Oh, eyes. I seen the eyes. I'm like, what? I mean, detail. So I love that for you. And before we just talk about, your grand opening, I just want to talk about the pandemic a little bit too. Okay, because the pandemic birthed a lot of things in people. I moved here in the middle of a pandemic. Just having so much time. I don't know what it was. And next thing I'm calling my cousin, cuz it's that time. I think it's time. It's time to get up out of here. One way ticket, me. So I just want to ask you, like, what did the pandemic do for you as a salon owner or a hairstylist? I'm curious to know. Did it affect you? Did you slow down? Did it maybe get you busier? Because people inside making content, they gotta look cute. Just tell me what the pandemic did for you, Nia as a woman and Nia as a business owner and entrepreneur. Like, did it shift your mindset? What did that make you realize or awaken in you? Because the pandemic, it was a time to be alive. I hated wearing a mask. Yeah, tell me that.
Well, I slowed down, but not too much.
Okay,
my clients love me. I'm blessed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blessed that I have consistent clients, and no matter where I go, they follow me.
That's what's up. Yeah,
they follow me.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved into my home. I was in an apartment, and when the pandemic hit, like really bad, where they kicked all of us out of the salon suites, I rented a house, and I dedicated the whole lower level to my salon.
Right.
And that's how I figured it out. And I kept everybody separate, one person at a time, masks at all times, masks for me as well. And I got COVID once, but it wasn't from a client. It was from me being outside. You see what I'm saying?
Right, I stepped outside myself.
Yeah, it wasn't from a client because my clients, they really do love me, and I'm blessed to have the clientele that I do have. Yeah.
I love that. How did you find your lane? Because you do a lot of hair. Sometimes even when I see you doing braids and just natural styles on like a kid, I'm like, dang, you know what? I forgot. She's a lock guru. But I be forgetting, that you are qualified to just do it all. You know what I mean? But how would you say you found your lane when it comes to like natural hair and the locks? I love that you are so passionate. But she be getting on to me sometimes. Let me come in there and I ain't putting no oil in my hair. Let me come in there and I ain't been putting my bonnet on my head and it's getting linty. She is on me. You know what I'm saying? But I respect that. I'm like, okay, let me get myself together because I know she's gonna get on me because I ain't wash my hair in between the style or something like that. So yes, where does that passion come from? How do you find your lane when it comes to this natural hair and these locks? I'm curious, especially when you had a grandmother who was just like, locks, at first, I'm curious to know how you ended up here. So, and sorry to cut you off, but you look so much like her, especially in that black and white headshot.
Yeah.
Immediately I was like, I know she has to love this picture because I immediately just seen your grandmother, So yeah, I just thought I'd share that. But yeah, tell me about how you just found your lane, navigating this natural, world, and specifically, the love for locks.
Well, like I said before, I was raised in Rastafari, and religiously, how you wear your hair is in locks for Rastafari. And I had a lot of uncles around, and as a kid, I would just play in their hair and wrap their hair up. And my one godfather who passed away, he would always tell me, "Oh, your hands feel so good in my head, baby." He said, "You're gonna do something with your hands. You're gonna do something. Just do my hair. Just keep doing it." And he just always had me doing his hair. I was playing in it. My grandmother always had me playing in her hair. It just,
you literally love it.
and I'm picky. I'm picky,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna want it to look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And if my name is on it, I want us. It's a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna be on top of you, so you can be okay. You can be good, and I could be good at what I'm doing, because I can't make it look the best if it's not doing what it needs to do on
Right.
its end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so.
I want to talk about just the grand opening that's coming up, because I've seen you, like, again, you said the pandemic happened and they made you guys move out the salon suites. And then I was in your home studio, very nice, very professional. I literally have never ran into like another client unless afterwards I was just hanging out and it's like, okay, I'm going to sit here for a little bit before I leave for work, or just I'm off today, let me hang out. That's the only other time, but I really, it's just very intimate space, very nicely decorated. So I'm not surprised. I'm just super excited for your salon opening as well. So just, I've seen a little bit of the journey, from I wasn't there for the sweet part, but, I heard about the suites and then being in your space. And then finally, you could have been content and just still did your hair right from your basement, because again, it was nice. You got your clientele. We support you. We're going to go wherever anyway. But, you were already comfortable. So I'm curious to know why you was like, still let me open up my own, renewed canvas little area. Why was that important to you, to just even have your own space? And was that always the goal when you were in your house? Like, were you like, oh, eventually I'll be here, or I'm comfortable, I want to be here? Just tell me about that vision and how it got started and why it was important for you to now, and like, now have this space.
Well, I miss the energy I used to have in the barbershop I used to work in.
Okay.
That like cultural hub.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody would sit and talk and exchange ideas,
Mm-hmm.
exchange what they did for the day, and exchange thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
and just have a space to do that, a safe space to do that. I hadn't been in one for a while. I think COVID kind of separated that kind of space where everyone's in a space together.
Right.
Everything's so separate and just by itself.
It is, though.
So I miss that.
Mm-hmm.
And then my need and want to travel more and have more financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing all these people here, everybody going everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't going nowhere.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I want to travel too. I want to go some places. So I need to have some time management, some more time to myself. I need to have some more financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So having this space, I have a space for me to work in. And I could rent booths to other stylists or makeup artists or lash artists, so that I can collect revenue from them for the space.
Right.
And I don't have to do too much once it's running.
Yeah. Stepping into the boss, really running the business part of it,
I'm not getting any younger.
Girl.
And things are just getting harder.
It really is.
So as I'm getting older, I'm trying to prepare myself for life to be easier as I get older. I'm not trying to be behind a chair in my 60s. So I have to move from getting behind a chair and educating and selling my products and stuff like that.
And that's so good that you're even thinking like that. Because I don't know if most entrepreneurs, especially right now at our age, like even think that long term. It's like before we will be 60, because time, it don't wait on nobody, so that's great that you're thinking long term, so I have a few different questions. So let's start with this. Renewed Kanvas. What does that come from? Like, what does that name come from? The inspiration behind it. I've seen the beautiful handwritten logo that your grandmother drew for you, but I just want to hear it from you. Just where does that come from? Renewed Kanvas.
So I wanted a name that played on RK, because originally the mother business is Royal Kushite Hair Care. So I wanted to keep RK because my grandmother made the logo with the letters RK. But I also wanted to keep the name of the beauty bar as something that gives art. Like whatever is coming out of it is a masterpiece. So I was playing with words, and then I was like, renewed canvas. canvas. We're all canvases.
Yeah.
You know, and we're all a work of art
Mm-hmm.
in itself. But then when you come and you sit in my chair, I renew it. I just add to the work of art. You see what I'm saying? I'm not changing it. I'm just renewing it. It's like a vintage piece. You don't change the vintage piece. You just renew it. You polish it up, but you're not going to change it.
I love it.
You know?
Very intentional, like you said, and just aligning with the legacy. You know, it truly is like legacy. You know, I guess that's why I love your story too, because I hear you just give your grandmother praises so much, you know, and her who being the one that started this and you pushing it forward, it's just beautiful to me. It really, really is. So I love that for you, my girl. Anything, you know, when you were we're gonna talk about the grand opening and end with that, but I just want to ask, like, what was that process like getting a building and figuring that out? Was it harder than you expected? Was it stressful? Did you ever be like, okay, I'm just gonna stay in my house, you know, because it got frustrating? You know, I'm just curious to know what that process was like, because, you know, some people think they can't do it until it's done, and then that is automatic inspiration for the next person. It's like, you know what? Nia was able to open up a little spot. Maybe I can open up me a little spot, or open up me a little this, you know. So just tell me about your journey, what that was like, how hard it was, what you had to go through, what hoops and hurdles, you know. Yeah, I'm curious to know what that was like, my friend.
Definitely hoops and hurdles. I looked up so many things for the process between TikTok, Google, everywhere, and it didn't give me the answers I needed.
No.
I promise you, I did not find the answers I needed anywhere.
Dang.
And it made me think, okay, let me make notes and do an ebook or something.
Okay.
Right? Do a couple TikToks so that I can educate on the process or little surprises that pop up. Because I was not aware of a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And having the right mentor plays a huge part in the next business venture that I have coming up. I feel like I found the right mentor, and they have all the blueprints I need for me to be able to get it going successfully without all of the hurdles. And really, she told me just because she did the same thing I did. I went through all the hurdles and now have the blueprint and now can help others do that. You know, so I plan on assisting others in this category or this way of opening a salon. But it was really... It's different, especially not coming from Georgia.
Really?
Because my government is different. You know, here there's counties within cities, the south cities within the towns, and everything is so... I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah. So it was a difficult process.
Yeah.
Probably.
It was
a foreign process for you.
It tested my faith. That it did. It tested my faith.
Girl, I can only imagine.
I cried a couple times. I cried with a couple clients.
Yeah.
Clients cried with me. Like, I feel you. But I saw the light at the end of the tunnel.
Did you? So you pretty much never gave up. You would cry and keep it moving on, pretty much. Or did you ever feel like giving up? Like, I don't know about this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Especially as a woman, doing business in places where you will need men, like construction workers,
right,
contractors, plumbers, electricians, a landlord. When you're a woman trying to do business, men for some reason don't listen to you.
And they should.
You know, like, I'm paying you.
And
I'm paying you. Please just respond to my text. Right. Tell me when you're going to be available. Like, I have to pull teeth.
The communication.
To get things done as a woman. And it's like I have to get irate. You know, for me to get what I need done with these men.
Yeah, girl.
Or to get my other half. If I want to stay feminine, if I want to stay in my soft energy, I have to calm my other half to deal with that because they really try to get you out of it.
That is insane.
It was crazy, the amount of back and forth. But with God and prayer,
you are here.
With God and prayer.
So you were in your salon last year, which I'm so grateful for. And I just remember going in there, so happy for you. Cute studio, like cute boutique space, like the door. It's like super cute to me. And then I just remember you like, oh, I'm gonna do this on this wall, and this is gonna be the vision, and it just slowly, every visit, slowly starting to be like, okay, she did it. Okay, I see she got this on the wall. Okay, I see it coming together. Up until now, where you are about to have your official grand opening, which is going down this Saturday, y'all, April 26th, hosted by yours truly. Thank you. I'm so excited. I love grand openings. But it's going down 12 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., right? 12, it's going down. So I just want to ask you, like, what was it like leading up to the grand opening? Okay, yes, I got in my salon, but I still was putting in work, taking clients, doing all this to even get ready for the date that's coming this weekend, having to paint, do this, get your walls ready, just tell me what the process was like preparing for your grand opening, and then you can end it on a happy note, happier, exciting note, and just tell us what we can expect at the grand opening, what you look forward to most, why you're so excited, and why people should come book their rental at the Renewed Kanvas Beauty Bar. Okay, let us all know.
So I actually didn't want to open. I didn't want to.
You didn't want to do a grand opening.
No, I didn't want to. I didn't even want to do a grand opening until I fully finished how I wanted it to look.
Right.
I've even before I started working in there, taking clients in there. I had my lease for going on a year before I started accepting clients in there.
Oh my gosh, Nia!
Just to get building code, fire department, all these things to get them done accordingly and in a timely fashion. It took close to a year to get done, and that discouraged me alone. And then when I got into space, I was like, I don't want to have no clients here. It looks crazy, And my close family and the other half was like, they will love to see the progress, And I asked a couple clients, and they're like, "Girl, let's go to the space. Let's see it." So I went, and little by little, it's been growing and growing on me.
That's good.
Because it's not what I wanted.
And you're a perfectionist, and I know I know what it's like when something is your baby. You want to hold on to it till it's ready. So I get it, but
you just gotta do it.
I love the month of March because March 1st, you got to March 1st before you can March 4th. So March 1st and March 4th are just one of my favorite days of the year because those days demand you, March 1st before you can March 4th. So I tell myself that often. I'm telling you today because that's what you've done. And so what can we expect to go down at this, salon? Like, what are you just looking forward to most with your grand opening? Because I know that this means a lot to you, and you are nervous with your perfectionist self. But I'm just curious.
It's ready. It's ready. This past week we've done so much work to it, and it is ready. It is. I'm excited. And we're gonna have a raffle. We're gonna have giveaways. We're gonna have some networking games where everybody can learn what the other people is doing, exchange information. I have a lot of clients who are business owners and who are doing phenomenal stuff with their life. So just having everyone network and exchange their information, I think will be wonderful. And everyone to just see the space, because I put my blood, sweat, and tears into that place. And it's like a pre-birthday thing too, because my birthday is April 30th.
Yes, it's coming up.
It's all a celebratory, time for me.
Good for you. Yeah. This is your moment. This is your season. I'm super happy and proud of you. You deserve it. You really do. Be working your butt off. You're consistent. You got a good heart. You know what I mean? So you deserve this. And I'm super proud of you. Okay? Thank you. So, yes. So how can we just stay connected with you? If somebody wants you to bless their crown and renew their canvas, how can they just stay connected with you? How can they follow you? All of that. Drop it all here so we can stay connected.
So Kushite_Locks. Kushite, KUSHITE _Locks, LOCS, or Renewed_Kanvas. Follow both pages. You're gonna see educational videos, tips, product knowledge, all of that. We share it there.
anything that you want to just leave us with? Like, what have you learned about yourself through this process? Like, did you find out, like, you know what, I am that girl, or whatever, it may be. What did you learn about yourself and in business? I would like to ask both. Just throughout this process, not the opening of your salon, not just that process, but the beginning, from stepping into motherhood and having to just pivot right away as a young woman up into, and then you go to college, and then you moved to Georgia, and then you went to Georgia State, and you graduated, and now we're back in cosmetology school, and now what have you learned about Nia? What have you learned about business and life throughout that journey and that process?
That's a good question.
Thank you, girl. I want to know. Think. Yeah, I would love to know, what you learned.
I've learned so much, but I would say the biggest lesson is patience. Mm-hmm. Patience is a virtue. Mm-hmm.
So cliche, but true, huh?
So cliche, but so true. Mm-hmm. Patience and celebrate the small wins.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
Celebrate the small wins. I'm never proud of what I do. Mm-hmm. But everybody else around me be like, oh my God. And I'd be like, no, I feel like I could do better than that. Mm-hmm. I feel like I could do bigger than that. Mm-hmm. Just be happy for where you at. Amen. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great advice, Nia. Thank you again for just doing this, girl. This is your season. It is, me and my girl, we are being very intentional about the rooms that we step in this season, and I had been thinking about going to this event for so long, and then you text me. I was like, oh yeah, we're going. We're buying this ticket right now. Bought our ticket, invested in ourselves right then and there. And I just look forward to what's to come for us, But this ain't about me, for you, okay? It's going down this weekend, April 26th, y'all, 12 p.m., Renewed Kanvas Beauty Bar. The grand opening is there. Networking, you don't want to miss it. A raffle, good vibes, y'all. She's an island gal. Best vibes. Music, food. She dances. Yes. She already said she's been dancing, So it's just gonna be such a good vibe. Your village, your tribe loves you, obviously. So I just can't wait to be in the midst of all these people that I hear about her clients all the time. So I'm super excited.
You're one of them.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I'm just so excited. And I'll be sending clients to my girl too. Y'all book my girl, because people ask me all the time. So I'll be wanting to know, like, did they go? Yeah. So it's a blessing when I see it, because I know they're gonna love their hair, but they got a good person doing their hair too. You know what I mean? So I absolutely love that.
It's a blessing to know you, love.
Thank you.
Not all my clients I become friends with.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's a fine line. But I love you.
Yes, I love you too, my girl. You have anything else you want to just leave to people before we wrap this thing up, before I close it out?
Have patience with yourself and love on yourself unconditionally.
Amen. Okay, love you first before you can love anybody else. So we're going to wrap this up. Nia, just thank you again. Everybody tuned in. Thank you for being tuned in. Truly, this platform was to be a positive promotion platform for Ladies in Motion, which are women that's winning in their local community. I feel blessed that God gave this vision to me, the one to carry it out. Lord, I don't understand it sometimes. But, I'm so inspired by the women that I come in contact with. So it's a blessing to do it. I want to give a huge shout out real quick to my girl, Sherelle White of Ventful Dream. She's an artist. And I met her at the Black Girl Fashion Show, the Black Girl Art Show. And I was hosting that, and they have the one in Atlanta. But she made these earrings, and it's my first time wearing them. And they have oranges on them for the Florida girl in me. So I'm very proud to wear them today. I have to give my girl a shout out. In a few weeks, I'll be shining light on Mom Bosses. So we starting it off right here with one. Okay? Been doing this, new to this. No, true to this, not new to this. There we go. Okay, but Mom Bosses. So I want to give her a shout out. Where art meets fashion. That's what she says. And it's handmade, y'all, with love. Clay. That's what this is. Really? And she made these, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I love these earrings. When I first got them, I'm like, what am I going to wear these at? Like, maybe a photo shoot, but, patience.
We can still do it for
And
you.
here I am. And should got my camera today.
Right.
So everybody just tuned in again. Just thank you. Connect with these women that I'm bringing before you, y'all. These aren't just any old woman. These are women that's winning. Okay, so make sure you follow Ladies in Motion on all platforms and just stay tuned. I'll be back here next week again with more women that's winning. Bye.